Okay, so welcome to the conference this evening with Le Cercle des Langues. Today we are discussing journalism. We are talking about basic notions and the vocabulary. So tonight's conference is level A1 to A2. I will do the conference for 25 minutes, and the last 5 minutes will be if you have any questions or comments that you would like to make about the conference. Please feel free to take notes if you would like to. You can write on a piece of paper or you can write your questions in the chat and we will have a look at them after the conference. So let's begin. Tonight's conference will have 4 parts. We are going to speak about an introduction to journalism. We will talk about vocabulary and examples. We will talk about the journalism process. And then the final part is the key concepts in journalism. So with the introduction to journalism, you will see on the right we have the translation in French. So if there are words that you do not understand, you can have a look on the right-hand side to understand the concept a bit clearer in English. So let's begin. So when we are talking about the introduction to journalism, journalism is the practice of gathering, assessing, creating, and presenting news and information to the public. It involves the reporting of events, issues, and trends to a broad audience through various media formats, such as newspapers, magazines, television, radio, and digital platforms. What is the purpose of journalism? Journalism aims to inform, educate, and sometimes entertain the public while following the principles of truth, accuracy, fairness, and objectivity. Journalists play a crucial role in a democratic society by providing citizens with the information they need to make informed decisions. So let's look at the importance of journalism. Journalism ensures a healthy and vibrant society. These are the most remarkable aspects about journalism. So when we say remarkable, we are talking about the most beautiful or incredible parts of journalism. The first one is informing the public. They report the news and they share this information with the public. They hold the power of accountability. That means whatever they are reporting on, they hold the people responsible or accountable for what they are reporting. Supporting democracy. Because of this reporting power, they support democracy and fairness. The fourth thing is educating society. Through their reports and through their news channels and what they say, they are educating society on important subjects. They promote social change. They promote social change through the informing, the way they inform the public. This is how they promote social change. Because they are informing the public can then either make decisions on how to move forward with particular subjects. It even helps at a government level. They document history. When they document history, this means all of these important articles will forever be available to people who would like to read it. They have an economic impact. An economic impact because of how they report and what they say and what they do. Cultural preservation. Through their reporting, they are able to preserve cultures. And they have crisis reporting, which means when there is a big story, a news break kind of story of natural disasters, accidents that have happened in countries, big big situations that need to be reported to the public, and that affect bigger communities or affect the communities, they are able to share that information with the world. So let's check the most important moments in the history of journalism. So we call these milestones. So early beginnings, 59 BC, Acta Diurna, the first newspaper in ancient Rome. We then look at the birth of the press. We start in the 1450s, which was Gutenberg's printing press. This revolutionized mass production of text. In 1605, we have the Relation, which was the first printed newspaper in Strasbourg, which was, en français on dit Relation. In 1621, we have the London Gazette, one of the first official newspapers in England. The golden age of newspapers. In 1690, we have Public Occurrences, the first multi-page newspaper in America. In 1785, we have The Times, which was an influential London newspaper. In 1833, we have the New York Sun, introduction of the affordable penny press. In 1851, we have the beginning of the New York Times. It is the leading American newspaper. In 1844, we have the Telegraph, which was instant communication, which revolutionized news reporting. Modern journalism then began around the 1920s, which saw what we know as radio news, which brought news into homes instantly. In 1940 or the 1940s, we have television news, which became a primary news source. That is an hour or a few hours every day, you have news that is broadcast. En français, on dit diffusé. So it was broadcast across the world. From 1972 to 1974, we have what is called the Watergate scandal, which showcased the power of investigative journalism. In 1980, we have the launch of CNN, the first 24-hour news channel. This means that it played for 24 hours without stopping. You could always find out what is happening, what are the current events. In the 1990s, we began with internet and online news, which transformed the access we have to news. And when we say that it transformed the access to news, this simply means that we could now go online and type in a channel or a site and we could see exactly what was happening at this time on the news. In 2004, we had the launch of social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, which began influencing news dissemination. We look further to 2005, which was the beginning of the digital revolution and current trends. In 2005, we had the launch of YouTube, which enabled video journalism and user-generated content. In the 2010s, we have mobile news apps, and that is when news became accessible anytime via your smartphone. In 2020, we had the COVID-19 pandemic, which then emphasized the importance of reliable news sources and highlighted misinformation issues. What is misinformation? Misinformation speaks of information that is either not true or has been altered before it is reported. So information is what you receive. Misinformation is the negative side of that information. Let's look at some vocabulary and examples. So when we are talking about journalism, we can speak about an article, or we can talk about a reporter or an editor. We then have a headline or a lead. We then have a byline, a source, and fact checking. When we talk about fact checking, we talk about the person who is ensuring all the information is correct. We talk about a press release, a newsroom, investigative journalism, and a feature story. So, real examples. The reporter asked tough questions during the press conference. The editor reviewed the article before it was published. Fact-checking is essential to ensure the accuracy of the news. She spent weeks gathering information for her feature story on the impact of urbanization. The reporter had to verify the source before including the information in the article. We've got more vocabulary. We talk about breaking news. We talk about journalistic integrity. We talk about an editorial or a column. We talk about the story's angle. So, in which way is the story being told? We talk about attribution or a press conference. We talk about dateline or a journalist, an opinion piece or print media. We then also talk about digital media. So in our examples, the editorial in today's paper criticized the government's new policy. His weekly column offers insights into the local political scene. The journalist traveled to the war zone to report on the conflict firsthand. Proper attribution was given to the expert who provided the statistics. Despite the rise of digital media, many people still prefer print media for their news. So then we look at key concepts in journalism. So what is the role of a journalist? Their responsibilities are research and investigation, to collect and verify information from various sources. Reporting and writing. They need to craft clear and engaging articles and reports. editing and proofreading. They need to review content for accuracy and clarity. Number 4, adhering to ethical standards. They need to maintain integrity and follow ethical guidelines. They also need to focus on engaging with the audience, which is how we interact with readers and address feedback. And they need to stay updated, keep up with current events and media trends. What skills are required? You need to have a strong sense of writing and communication. So that is effective writing and verbal skills. Also critical thinking and analytical skills. So you need to be able to analyze and assess information critically. We then have research skills. Find and evaluate reliable information. Adaptability and flexibility. You need to be able to work under pressure and adapt to changes. We then have ethical judgment. We need to uphold high standards of honesty and integrity. And then we need technical skills. For example, we need to be able to use media tools and platforms effectively. Ethics in journalism and the importance of ethics. Trust and credibility. Upholding ethical standards builds public trust and credibility in journalism. Accuracy and integrity ensures that information is accurate, balanced, and free from bias. Accountability provides a framework for holding journalists accountable for their work. Protection of sources safeguards the confidentiality of sources, encouraging the sharing of critical information. Free from bias speaks, when you talk about bias, you speak about someone's ability to be objective. So to see something from a neutral perspective. So if you are biased, you are not able to see things clearly. For example, I will use the example of you having a business and you hire your family member over a candidate that is outside of your work. You are not able to be free from bias because it is your family member and you know them on a personal level. So that is what bias speaks about. Then we talk about accountability, which provides a framework for holding journalists accountable for their work, and protection of sources, safeguards the confidentiality of sources, encouraging the sharing of critical information. Objectivity and fairness. A journalist must be good at fact-checking, verify information from multiple sources before publishing, avoiding bias, there's the word again, be aware of personal biases and strive to minimize their impact on reporting. Presenting multiple perspectives, include various viewpoints to provide a balanced view of the topic. Using neutral language. So choose language that is objective and avoids loaded or emotive terms. Disclosure. Reveal any potential conflicts of interest and be transparent about sources and methods. What is the journalistic process? We have techniques for gathering information. For example, interviews. Conduct conversation with sources to obtain first-hand information and perspectives. Observation. Attend events or observe situations directly to gather accurate and detailed accounts. Research. Use public records, databases, and academic resources to find relevant data and background information. What kind of techniques are there for gathering information? We have networking. So build relationships with sources and industry contacts to receive tips and insights. Social media monitoring. Track social media platforms for emerging trends, public sentiment, and breaking news. Freedom of information requests. File informal requests to access public records and government documents. Then what are your tools and your resources? Use audio recorders and smartphones to capture interviews and conversations. Cameras. Employ digital cameras and smartphones for photography and video recording. Content management systems. Utilize CMS platforms to organize and manage collected information and draft stories. You then also have data analysis software. Analyze large data sets using tools like Excel, Google Sheets, or specialized software for in-depth research. News aggregation tools. Use tools like Google News or Feedly to stay updated on current events and relative news. And use online databases. Access databases like LexisNexis or ProQuest for comprehensive research and background information. In conclusion, journalism is a vital pillar of our society, serving as the bridge between information and the public. Understanding its principles like truthfulness, objectivity, and integrity allows us to appreciate the role of journalists in shaping public discourse. So thank you for joining me this evening for this conference. Raymond, do you have any questions or comments, or was everything good for you?
No, I have my answer on the question about free from bias.
Bias, yes,
Bias,
absolutely
bias.
free from bias.
Okay,
So you will receive the PDF so you can
okay,
have a look at it and see how, if you understand or use our vocabulary. But if that's all, I will see you not next week, the week after for the conference.
okay.
Thank you so much,
Good evening.
Raymond.
Thank you. Good
Good
evening.
evening. Bye.